Hey, it's Bill DeWeese here from voice-over-training.org. I hope you are doing well, and I'm really glad you're checking out today's video. And if you're watching this, I'm assuming it's because either you're getting into the voiceover business or you're seriously thinking about getting into the voiceover business. And I want to say congratulations to you if that's the case, because I really believe there is no better time than right now, the present, to get into the voiceover business. And I'll talk about the reasons why in just a moment. But when people think about or talk about the voiceover business, there's some obvious things that come to mind. Most people think about radio and TV commercials. That may be the most obvious thing. Also audiobooks. And then a lot of people think about the character and animation voice part of the voiceover business. But the voiceover business is so much more than that. And especially with the proliferation of technology, everybody's a content producer. Almost anybody can produce videos, and everybody does, especially with YouTube and with internet technology. And most companies now have their own web presence. So there are many more opportunities now than there were, say, 10, 15 years ago. In addition to things like the radio and TV commercials, character voices, audiobooks, you've got corporate narrations. There's the whole learning and training facet of it. Training has become huge in corporate America, and it continues to grow as companies see the value that they have in their human capital, and they invest a lot of money in proper training of their employees. And audio production, doing voiceovers to supplement those programs, are a big part of that. And that's where a lot of work is available to today's voiceover artist. You also have telephone applications, things like telephone marketing, on-hold messages. There are apps for smartphones. And as I mentioned, every company, just about every company has a website. So there are so many opportunities, some small, some large. And as I said, there's more demand now than there ever have been. So as we look at this broad array of possibilities in voiceover, you're probably thinking, well, how much can I make as a voiceover talent? Well, that's a really good question. And I'll tell you, it's a really hard question to answer because on one hand, there are a handful of the seven-figure voiceover artists. And these handful of people are those who record movie trailers, voices that you would be familiar with there. There's some of the higher-end animation voices that you see on network television. There's some of those who do a lot of national ad work, particularly on network television. But like I said, there's only really about a handful of people who command that kind of money in the voiceover business. And then you have I've heard it said around 1% or less than 1% of those in the voiceover business make a six-figure income. Now, by the time that I was in my 12th month of my own voiceover business, I was consistently generating over $2,000 a week and have since then dramatically increased my income again. And I believe, and I say that to say that I really believe that anybody with a reasonable amount of talent can grow a six-figure voiceover business within a year to 18 months. And that's really why I created voice-over-training.org with the resources and information to help you do that. But most people don't make that amount of money. And it goes all over the place because, unfortunately, a lot of people treat their voiceover business like the lottery. What do I mean by that? Well, they throw out an audition here or there, or they make a contact with a prospective client here or there, and then they sit back and they cross their fingers and they hope that something good happens. They hope that they pick up that one big client or that one big job that pays really big, and hopefully that client will continue to want to use them again and again. Does that happen? Yeah, it does. But again, it's kind of like playing the lottery. Frankly, I don't like to build a business with the outside remote hope that it might be successful. And there are strategies that are tried and true, and there are business principles that will work in the voiceover business as well as any business that will allow you to create a substantial, ongoing, sustainable income. Now, let's talk about getting set up in your own voiceover business. It's really not difficult due to today's technology because the technology is, relatively speaking, it's cheap and it's accessible. It used to be back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, you may have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to build or create a truly professional voiceover recording studio. But today, we've got methods of delivery via the internet, which are, essentially, if you have an internet account, and you're paying, I think I pay, what, 45, 50 bucks a month for mine for really high-speed internet. So that takes care of my mode of delivery to my clients. But also the technology in my studio itself. Now, for instance, I have some pretty good gear. I'm actually operating out of what's called a whisper room recording booth. When I first started my business, I did not operate out of this. I simply operated out of my master bedroom closet. Now, if you want to upgrade to a studio like this, you're talking, brand new, $3,800. I bought mine for half that because it was used. You may spend anywhere from $200 to $1,000 or more on your microphone. You may spend $1,000 or so, or give or take, a little less, a little more for a preamp and some processing, and you've got your mixer and your computer and your software. But you can, for technically, I started my business for well less than $1,000 in terms of the technology. Now I've upgraded since then as I've made more money because the cash flow is there and I can afford to do it. But my point is this: it's never been cheaper to buy the technology to set up in your own studio. And I won't go through a laundry list of everything you should buy and where to get it. And there are resources for that, except to say that that those materials are relatively inexpensive. And they are accessible for the average person. You may have to save a little bit to get them, but they are there. Now, let me talk to you about a step-by-step plan for getting into and creating and growing your voiceover business. 4 quick things. Number 1, make sure you get proper training. When I say training, part of that is performance training. You need to know how to deliver a voiceover performance. But equally important, and this is where a lot of people miss the boat, you must understand the business side. And if you don't come from a business background, now, you don't have to, I am an MBA, but you don't have to be an MBA to do this. But you need to have some business understanding in terms of specifically marketing and sales. It's not complicated, it's not difficult, but it's out of most people's comfort zone. So you must learn to become a good marketing person and a good salesperson because you are your own best agent. So get the proper training, performance and business-wise. Secondly, get the right technology, create your own studio. That's step 2. We already touched on that. Number 3, and this will be your key marketing tool, and that is a good demo/demos. Typically the commercial demo. And this blog really won't allow me to get, this blog post will not allow me to get in depth into what a demo consists of and how to create one. But a demo is an audio representation of you at your best. And typically a commercial demo is your flagship demo. That's where most people will hire you based on your performance on that. You can go on from there to have other ones made. I have a radio imaging, a TV promo demo. I have a narration demo. A lot of people do. I have an audiobook demo, and there are all kinds of different demos depending on the type of a voiceover business that you, or the areas of the business that you want to focus on. But you at least need a good commercial demo to get started. Also, then you'll need to get into the whole have a marketing plan and know where to reach people, to communicate your message, to get them the demo, to send your auditions, and generally agents, play-to-play websites such as voices.com, voice123.com, and there are others, as well as production houses, video and audio production houses. Those tend to be the main places where you can really build your business. Those are the 3 main outlets to do that. Also, you're going to need to have some money to do that. You will need to budget money for your equipment, which we talked about, for your studio, for training. I would say you should plan to spend anywhere from right around $1,000 for a good training program to get you up and started. But you should also plan to do regular ongoing learning and training. At least once a year, participate in a learning or training event and hopefully get coaching beyond that on a regular basis. You're going to want to budget for your demos. You're going to want to probably, for a good demo, and people will argue this as to how much you should spend or who you should see, but I would recommend planning on spending around $1,000 to $1,500, maybe a little more when you first get started. When you're down the road and you really are pushing to become a more elite voiceover talent, you may want to look to spend thousands, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a demo. But is it necessary to grow a 6-figure voiceover business? No. It is not. And make sure you have a marketing budget so that you can, if you need to pay for memberships on the pay-to-play sites, that if you want to advertise yourself, And, we could do and we'll do at some point, a complete video blog post just on your marketing plan. But you can technically market yourself without much, really, if any money. If you've got the proper equipment and you go out and research and find the proper contacts and you have internet access, you can use email and your telephone to do a lot of your marketing for you. And then above and beyond all that I've told you, the one quality that will ensure that you succeed in the voiceover business, and that's more important than anything else, is simply this: an undying belief in yourself. And then also your persistence. If you believe in yourself that you can do it, and the old saying, it's what was it Henry Ford said, if whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And there's a lot of truth into that in that little saying. And your persistence and not giving up. Not trying once, not trying twice, not trying for a week, not trying for a month, but trying persistently over an extended period of time. You will break through, and you will be able to be a successful voiceover talent who makes a consistent income that you can support yourself and your family on. So I hope you found this helpful. For more resources, I invite you to go to voice-over-training.org. I wish you all the best in your voiceover business. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, thoughts, please drop me an email at voiceoverexpert@gmail.com or bill@billdeweese.com. Until next time, take care and all the best in your voiceover business.